Today we're going to be looking into OpenAI's Codex. For the next few minutes, you'll understand what OpenAI Codex is, how to install it, and what does it excel at, and where does it fall short, and what are the other features that we're not going to really cover, but you can look into further. All right, we're going to jump straight to it. To start off with, I'm on the OpenAI Codex page. You can see we're in OpenAI Developers, and this is all the documentation they have on their website. But it's simply just to go into what Open Codex is. It's a CLI agent similar to Claude Code that just helps you write code from your local terminal, but it also can be uploaded onto different machines to execute things via the command line. To set it up is quite simple. You can run any of the few commands here. One thing to note, if you are on Windows, you need the WSL pack. It just seems like a lot of these AI CLI tools aren't really built for Windows, so just note that you might need a bit more configuration than what you see here. To install, you can run the npm package global, or if you're on a Mac, you can use Homebrew. I'm going to be using the Homebrew installation for this case. So I'm literally just going to copy that, and I'm going to go to my code base. I'm literally just going to install that here, and we can see brew install Codex. So I've just run that, and it's starting to install this. But one thing to note with Codex, you don't always need an OpenAI subscription. You can use an OpenAI key, or API key, I should say. So there we go, installed. Now, just to run Codex, we literally just type in Codex, hit the run. We can see it's pretty much coming through. I don't know if it actually authored us in automatically. This is checked. So I'm going to go, so it didn't automatically load us in. I want to jump to the GitHub quick. When you get to the GitHub, you'll see here there's a doc folder. This is where a lot of the new docs are. It's not really a nice way to see things. And we're just going to go to authentication here. You'll see we can also actually use authentication using our key if we want, but we can also just use -login again if we just want to use our OpenAI account. I'm going to just use Codex login because I'm just going to use that. And it's going to take me to my account. I continue. All right, so we can see I went through the whole process and it logged me in. Great. So I'm just going to clear that. I'm going to run Codex again. That's going to run Codex for us. All right, so what is Codex? Why is everyone talking about it? Let's just jump into what's actually going on. Well, Codex built around the GPT-5. It's what a lot of the capabilities are around. It's mainly working with different types of GPT-5. You got mini and things like that. So if we just jump, we go /models here, /model, we can see here it's got all the different GPTs. It's like GPT-5 Codex, low, medium, high. Then we've got the standard GPT-5s, also medium, low, and high. And the low is just the thinking. So that's what these values are here for. All right, so just jumping back in. And why is it so good right now? Well, apparently it's doing really well in the SWE-bench success. It's got 74.5% and 51.3 complex refactoring score, which is quite big. And it was, it's a big jump up from 33%. So, it's doing very well from where it was. And then these are just some system requirements that you should need to know. If you are using Windows, you're going to have to use the WSL that we talked about earlier, but you need either an API key or GPT Plus or Pro account. All right, we've already run through this, how you can install it, set up, and then, if you want to check files. You can also run it straight from the terminal, so you can go Codex and then put your prompt in straight away, so it runs. And another thing that's quite nice is everything is run in a sandbox, so it doesn't actually have access to your main OS straight away. You actually have to allow it to have access to your OS, which is nice. They come from a granular permissions state first, so you kind of want to see what's going on, and everything's full transparent. So what I've noticed is if you exit, you can see what the prompts were and things like that, which is great. You can use in the terminal. There's also some IDE extensions that we can also use context with. And then finally, just as a quick comparison with Claude Code, what is the main differences? So you can just compare this quickly. Well, we know 74.5 is the SWE-bench verified, and then there's Claude. Interesting enough, there was some information from the SWE-bench where some AI models were just getting the last git commit and some problems were just solved, on the last iteration. So I'm not 100% sure how good this SWE-bench is now, but still a good metric to compare against. So it's about 4% better than Claude Code. And this is another big one, the autonomous time, 7+ hours, where Claude is only 45 minutes. I think that's quite interesting. I know here I said it's cloud plus local hybrid, and Claude is terminal focused. You can run Claude on the cloud. It's just on the machine that you have. They claim 93.7% reduction in context token consumption. And I'm guessing that's maybe to do with the caching, but yeah, I don't know how true all of that is. And yeah, so what are some issues around Codex that I could just find what other people have stated is there's sometimes some performance issues, like things just hang and you probably just want to go to GPT-4 or flag wants to respond. And there's also some rate limiting depending on the plan that you're on. And if there's any authentication errors, you're probably going to have to go remove your Codex/auth and then re-authenticate. All right, and these are the plans that you have at the moment. You can use ChatGPT Plus, Pro, or you can use the Enterprise plan. You can also use an API key that's not on the screen here, but that kind of covers the general summary of Codex. Let's just jump straight back to the code here, and let's see what we can get started. So I'm just going to run this in the demo folder here, and I'm just going to tell it to build me a landing page. All right, so I'm giving it quite a different prompt here. I'm telling it to build a landing page for demo for consulting services, make it a modern design. It's all about providing IT services to clients. It should also have a CTA and ways to capture information. For now, no database connection. Work on the landing page and have unique, compelling copy to incite people into the service. Think of the color scheme and minimal UI. So this is just a very simple way of me just testing this out. So we'll see. Okay, so it's creating the landing page. All right, so we can see here's where the tokens are being used. So we can see it's 6.5K tokens already. We still have 100% context left. And we can press up for the transcript, which is interesting. And here, so it is built my demo. See what it did. Okay, so it just made a very simple HTML app. So this is what it built for us. Not bad. While we're waiting for Codex, I actually want to go back to the documentation. Just talk about a few other documents some other features that aren't quite known. All right, just to go over some lesser known features, we're just going to be looking at the docs here quick. So we're looking at advanced mainly. And we're just going to look at how you can actually resume last sessions. So you can just go Codex resume -last. And that will execute the last section. You can also do some logging found in your root folder with the log codex tui.log, which is great. And this is the MCP protocol. Again, you also put this in your config all on root. And it is a bit different from the JSON format. It's, I believe they're using the TOML format here. Yeah, that's correct. So you have your MCP servers and then your server name, whatever you want to be. So you want to go MCP servers, Brave, and then we can put all the arguments, environment variables in the command, which is great. Then just quickly elsewise. All right, so that's the advanced section, I think. Config. Yeah. So in config is kind of interesting. So you can make profiles for different parts. So you can make a profile for O3, for example, and we'll see here, this is just the model profile. So you can specify what the model name is, where the provider is, and then also the name, the base URL, the environment key, and the Why API, which is really nice. So you can actually even use Olama, and they even have the Olama section here. I'll probably do a video covering that. And then just quickly, they've got profiles here, which I thought was quite interesting. So you can have different profiles for different settings. The main thing here is just letting the model use different parts of the sandbox. You don't always have to specify. So this approval setting here, so approval policy never. So it doesn't ever need to get approval. And then you can state your reasoning effects and your summaries. I think this is. I also found this kind of interesting when I was reading for the documentation, notify aspect in Codex. So essentially, when the agent's complete, you can do an input message and message. So very, very interesting. And another thing with the notify is you can actually make a script like this shown here on screen. This is a Python script, so they can run and notify something on the desktop. And you can actually say notify equals what its type is and where it's going to be executed. It does give you a bit of notes about that. So just with notify, what I think it's really nice that I'm equating this to is open code plugins. You can connect it to external APIs. So I think that's quite powerful. That's very interesting to see how it's all built. Hope you enjoyed this video, having a quick look at OpenAI's Codex CLI. Let me know if you want more content around Codex CLI, if there's something you're interested in. I do see a lot of potential in Codex CLI. It has a lot of extended functionality. It is following the plugin architecture that I've seen elsewhere, which is really great. Because it is open source, you can actually see what's happening in the background, and that will actually allow you to optimize your builds and things accordingly. I'm a big fan of that. And if you like videos like these, and we dive into AI tools and just give you a comparison on what you look and expect, please hit that subscribe button. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.